Good morning. Hi, everyone. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I haven't had a beard in over 20 years, probably 25 years. You know why I'm growing it, right? Yeah, because I'm not going to be shaving for about 2 months. I'll be walking with James Twyman. He and I are going to do that cross-country journey in about, starts in about 3 weeks. Okay, so can we kind of bring the talk down for a minute so we can get started? Thanks. Live streamers, welcome. This is our last get-together here as what we've called the Friday group. And it's nice to see familiar faces come to say whatever you're going to say if you come up here and share. And we're going to have about 6 people come up and share that have asked to speak a few minutes that would say something about probably what this group has meant to them or experiences that they've had here. And I look forward to hearing each of you that would share from the heart of experience. And I would say for me, this has probably been the most meaningful experience of my life other than finding the course. Because Lisa and I started this together as a whim almost. I worked here at Unity on the River as the Director of Sacred Service, and Chris Casanovas isn't here, but he was at a party at Vicky Poppy's house, Vicky Thomas, and at the party he was telling me, you guys ought to start have you thought about maybe starting a Course in Miracles group at the Unity? And at the time, Lisa and I had just started one at Vicky's house. We had a few meetings, and when Chris mentioned that, then I went and mentioned it to Lisa, and I worked here, so I made all the arrangements to set it up. And Shipley was the minister, and she said, you know, if you would make your Course in Miracles group on Fridays, I might be able to come to that. So that is the reason that it was on Fridays. She's never come. Shipley, you never came. Isn't that funny? Shipley, you never came, but you are the reason that we started on Fridays. Yay, Shipley. Isn't that a cool idea? I mean, that's actually what happened. But from that, this has become our family. This has become our family with you. And multiply you guys, you all that are here, times 20, because this has been a revolving door of beings that they bring the light, they share the light, they take the light, and they share it out there. And that's what this group has always been about. It's been about being the light, sharing the light, in a place where everyone can stand up here and share and speak their truth and know their truth. And I have seen so many souls, so many beautiful beings of light evolve from right here. From this place right here, I've seen so many of you and countless others that have emerged into your beingness because of this place right here that is established in the name and the presence of being, of the Christ self that we all are. And so I'm really grateful for that. I'm grateful that for all of you live streamers, 3 years ago we started live streaming and you guys became part of our community, our family. And now there's 4,500 of you that are registered, and you rotate just like these guys do. You rotate in and out of the live streaming event. Many people from around the world know us, and we know them. And you guys have met many of our friends across the pond, across the Atlantic, because of this live streaming experience. Irene's gone to Africa, South Africa, because of it. We've done teaching events in Guatemala and across in Europe because of this event. And so I'm extremely grateful for what has occurred spontaneously for this to happen. And this doesn't the end. This is just another new beginning for all of us. And wherever you're called to be, wherever you're called to show up, I just want to leave you, before we have people come up, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa, and she'll MC our guest teachers, or the guys who are going to speak. But and you can do the Cafe Gratitude for us. But before I go, I just want to leave you with two things that I would like for you to remember this place by and me by, and that is, and also yourself. And that is to stay and live in awareness. Stay and live and know yourself as the awareness of love's presence that you are. That's the highest. In my mind, that's the highest. And that will take you all the way to what you've always been looking for and always been, the awareness of love's presence. Thank you for letting me be part of this with you, and thank you for allowing me to grow as a result of this experience with you. And we have all grown together as one evolution of truth. And thank you for the Irene and David brought Lisa and I some roses. I feel like we did accomplish something very unique and special, but not because of its specialness, just because it's special for all of us. And in gratitude, I say thank you.
And we say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bill. That was perfect. So we're gonna do what we always do. I'm just gonna do a couple of announcements. I'm gonna speak just a little bit. We're gonna do the meet and greet, and what Bill said is true. Is you guys are the ones that made this group what it is, and I thank you, live streamers. I thank Unity on the River for this beautiful space, and what I was thinking about is how grateful I am that today's last class is group teach, that we're going to be passing the mic, because that was always what this class was always about. And that's what the Teachers of God Foundation has been about, is that it's a place to support, inspire, and encourage individuals to take this journey. And you don't take it from reading and studying. You take it from the active, deliberate decision to live these principles. And we wanted to give a space where people could begin to express from their true self, from your Christ identity. And, when I was driving down here this morning, I was thinking, this doesn't feel like a last class to me, because I live my life this way. I don't think this is any different than any other class we've ever done. And the reason for that is because years ago, I don't know how this happened or why this happened, but I started hearing people expressing, maybe when someone passed away, their regret that they didn't say something to the person, or they were living with regrets that they didn't do things that they wanted to do in their lifetime. And I just made this decision that I'm going to have no threads, none. And I just went through everybody I could think of, and I just expressed all my gratitude. It was during a time when I was doing the 12 steps of AA. I had been sober already for 5 years without AA. And then I realized that the thought system that caused me to drink, even though I wasn't picking up a drink anymore, the thought system that caused me to drink was still very active. And that's when I went to AA. I got a sponsor, I did the steps, and one of the steps is to make amends. And it really means to go into your mind. This is the mind training that's A Course in Miracles. You go into your mind and find out what needs to be cleaned up. Like, what was I doing in my drunkenness that I just was unkind, just not thinking, what A Course in Miracles would call my ego self. And I called everybody. I just said, I'm so sorry. Whatever I did, it hurt you, or where I didn't pay attention, or half the time I didn't even know what I did because I was drunk, right? And that's what we are when we live in the ego. We're drunk. We don't know what we're doing. And so at that time, I kind of added to the amendment exercise where I just was like, you know what? No loose threads. No loose threads. Like, if anybody that I know passes away today, I've said everything I needed to say. And what we do in life is when we see things online, for example, we get a phone call that somebody has cancer or somebody's sick. And we treat them differently, right? How come we weren't treating them the way we treat them with love before we got the announcement that they were on the way out, right? So that was the practice for me. I just was like, I'm going to treat everyone exactly the same, so that when I get announcements now that somebody has cancer or only a couple, months to live, I don't treat it any differently. I treat it exactly the way I've always treated it. So to me, that's what my feeling is. And it's the feeling I've had for all the years we've been here is one of gratitude. Really is. And, I stopped and got cake, which I always do, right? Another day, another cake. No, nothing's different. There's always going to be cake. So I'm just so happy to be here. And that's really my last words is don't leave any loose threads in this lifetime. Like, really just whatever you want to do, whatever spirit is really wants to come through you, go do it. So the only announcements I have really is that next weekend we are going to be doing on Saturday morning 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Saturday morning at the Portsmouth Herald Harborside Hotel. It's right downtown Portsmouth. We're doing a free 40-day app launch party, and everyone's invited. And we're going to be going through how to use the app, and we're going to have a lot of people sharing about their experience with the 40-day program. We're going to take a break. There'll be cake there.
We'll be live streaming it.
We'll be live streaming it. So the link to live stream is at the Teachers of God website. And then when we come back from the break,
the link will also be sent out in our weekly update.
Okay.
So if you get to, it's there.
Yeah, it was sent out.
Yeah. So you won't have to look for it. It'll come to into your email box.
Okay. And you do need to sign up for the live stream if you're live streaming it. And then when we come back from the break next Saturday, I will be going through some of the practices from the 40-day. And then Saturday afternoon from 2 to 5, I'm going to be doing the Healing Cure Retreat. And I'm also going to be doing that from Sunday morning from 9 to 12. So anybody who wants to come to that, that's on my website, lisanatoli.com. And that's all the announcements I have for today. And so now we meet each other in love and gratitude. So if everyone can rise and share of yourself.
Testing. Testing.
Okay, welcome back, everybody.
Okay, can we have a seat, everyone? Can we have a seat, please?
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Oh, we had to restart the live stream.
Okay. We shut it down. Aw, you're so sweet. Thank you. Aw, I love you, baby. Awesome. Love balloons.
Child in me.
Yes, exactly.
While we're in the middle of a sort of a pause, I added up the price on all these wreaths that are for sale. You can buy every one of these for $150. They're so cheap. If anyone wants one, look at it, put the money on the counter when you leave. The big one is $50. This one's $6, this one's $10, this one's $10. Look at all of that. It's all custom wreaths. So when we leave, you can leave with a wreath and just pay for it in the bookstore.
I would take the big one, but we're going to Mexico for Christmas, so who's taking the big one? $50. You taking it?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, it's gorgeous, right? Okay, so now we're going to do Cafe Gratitude. I'm so excited. Somebody drove from North Carolina. Roxanne Rollins has come into the house, so come on up here.
Yeah, this is kind of surreal because I've been watching all of you on YouTube, watching the replays, and to actually be here in person is really neat. And when I found out it was the last meeting, I thought, okay, this is it. I either come now or it doesn't happen. Thank you. So our quote today is from Paramahansa Yogananda, and it says, "I come not to entertain you with worldly festivities, but to arouse your sleeping memory of immortality." And the question that goes with that today is, where are you loving bigger than the circumstance? And I want to go back to something Bill said earlier. He said to honor wherever you're called to go, wherever you're called to show up. And that's what I'm doing right now. So I got into the course sometime in February. What got me there was a debilitating bout with anxiety. I've struggled with it for over 8 years, and it just came to a head in February. And I was desperate. And it's that gift of desperation that brought me to the course and got me in tune with my heart. And I've been following my heart this year, and I had no idea I was going to end up, right now I'm living a nomadic life. I have no home. I'm using my sister's address, and I just feel this call to be free, to go wherever my heart wants me to be. And as I'm honoring that, it's really cool. The way is opening up. I just got back from 3 months in Peru, and I decided I'm not going to sign a lease anywhere, and I'm just going to go wherever I'm called to go. And right now I feel called to be with family, to reconnect with family. So I have some family up in Maine, and then I'm also connecting. You are all family, so I'm connecting with all of you. And as I'm doing that, I'm finding that, and this is where, actually, I think it's tomorrow's. It says, "Where has love surprised you?" I'm surprised all the time now. As I'm following my inner guidance, the universe is providing what I need, and family and friends are actually excited for me to come stay with them. I'm just, every day I just wake up with gratitude for that. And I don't know where life is taking me. and even coming up here for this last meeting and for the Healing Cure conference next weekend, the ego was telling me, it's too cold up there. Why would you go to New England in the wintertime? Wait, I mean, serious. And I actually talked myself out of it. But then when I was talking to a friend about it, I could feel it. It's like my heart was saying, go. I was like, and I told them, I said, oh, I feel it, I have to go. And I'm here gladly, and just so happy to be with all of you. You feel like family, because I've seen you on YouTube. So, yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Roxanne. You know, and that's really what this is all about, is like, I love that you said the gift of desperation, right? That's where every one of us is brought to this place of there must be a better way, usually when our way is not working. And so to hear like that total childlike innocence and wonder, Roxanne, of really just saying, okay, I'm going to live the nomadic life and just really allow myself to go where guided. So thank you. So today what we're doing is group teach, which I love, and we have 5 teachers today, and I have no idea what any of them are going to share. And if there's time afterwards, we'll allow for open mic, but I really want to give a space to the ones coming up who said yes. So our first teacher is Jane Holiday. Welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. Can I make a little announcement? Next Friday night, Friday the 13th, which is going to be a lucky night for everybody, there's a Christmas concert here in the sanctuary at 7 o'clock. Whether you come to Unity, whether you don't come anymore, it's a wonderful program. There's surprise musicians who are going to show up, and there's a $15 love offering that we're asking so the musicians get paid, which is important. So I invite you all to come and enjoy. I just want to first thank you, Lisa and Bill, for your just amazing dedication to bring all of us the Course in Miracles, and all of your teachings, love, friendship, and the creation of this beautiful community that I call family too. It's definitely family, so thank you so much. I just thought I'd give a few examples of my experiences, share some contrasting moments from the dark to the light with you all. And I actually broke them down into categories. So the first one I chose is acceptance of what is. And I've been practicing acceptance for quite some time. And in 2006, I experienced a flood, and I don't know if any of you remember the flood over Mother's Day, those many years ago, that the rain just didn't quit and the water table came up, and I had a sump pump and I needed 2, but I didn't have to at the time. I was newly widowed, completely living in fear. I was terrified all the time. I just didn't know what was coming. I lived in the land of, what if this happens? What if that happens? Oh my God, I've got 2 girls, a house. What's going to happen? You know, it was not a good place to be. I was just totally terrified. I was reacting to everything. And in particular this time, I was reacting to the water flowing into my basement on that day and into the next day and the next day. And I remember seeing it, and I sat on the steps going downstairs, and I had a little mop that you'd wash your floor with. I thought I could clean it up with that, and a bucket. It wasn't pretty. I did get some help. I got over it. I cried through most of it. I was, as Maria Felipe would say, I was a hot mess. Fast forward about 11 years, and I was having some difficulty with my telephone. So I had the Verizon dude in my garage, and he said, do you have a phone jack downstairs? And I had been avoiding going downstairs because my daughter had left rather abruptly and left all her stuff everywhere, and I just hadn't done anything to take care of that. So I went downstairs, and I knew there was a jack, and there was water in the basement. And I don't know how long it had been there because I was avoiding that part of the house. And I sat down on the stairs like I did 11 years previous, and I started laughing. I just thought it was hysterical that there was water in the basement, and went like this and said, "Universe, thank you." It was my cue to clean up the mess that was down there, and then some. So that was just acceptance, for me, personified. And I also got an unexpectedly large check from the insurance company, which didn't hurt. The next thing is around awareness and healing. And many of you know I had a little motorcycle mishap in September. My ankle was broken. I had a huge hematoma inside my left knee. My ribs were bruised. My partner got off the bike with a little bruise on his leg. He lucked out. But we went to Nantucket to stay at a friend's house, and his name is Tom Macy, of the Macys of New York, which actually the family, I don't know if they originated from Amesbury, but they're local people. And he invited us into his home that was built in 1749. I think he said that George Washington was still in office for another 4 months when the house was built, and he was all about being Nantucket. And he was a little, in my opinion, a little judgment here, was a little stuffy, that he had just all these rooms with artifacts, and it was a beautiful house, and it was wonderful to be there, but I wasn't quite sure of him. And then we had the crash. The motorcycle fell on both of us, and the appearance of 4 angels showed up and helped us move the bike. They were workers on the island, and they just appeared. They were trying to get down the road. We were blocking the road, and they got the bike off the road. They stopped the engine, shut down the electrical system, which he couldn't do, Stephen couldn't do, and got us off the road. And then they just happened to disappear. It was amazing. So the next day I went to the ER, and Tom couldn't have been any more helpful. He really showed his heart that day and turned my head around about who he was as a person. So my needing to address issues with allowing others to help me and patience was a big part of this. And Stephen, my partner, who was caring for all my needs while I was immobile and beyond, the incident showed me that I needed to slow down, have a little patience, let him and others help me, which feeds them too. It's just about giving and receiving. And that awareness took me to return to a place of peace after being so triggered. So that was where the awareness and healing came from. And I was thinking more about what I couldn't do. I couldn't garden, I couldn't rake, I couldn't do this or that. And I just was able, in the awareness, to turn it around and see all the gifts and blessings that were around me during that time. My fingers aren't working. One day after the cast was put on, I had tickets to go see Willie Nelson, and he's no spring chicken anymore, nor am I. But I had seen him in the 70s and just loved Willie Nelson, and it was, I have to go to this, crutches and all. So we showed up, and my friend Laura, my perfect teacher, was there, and I call you my savior and friend. And she came up to me and she said, "You asked for this broken leg thing. You asked for this." And I looked at her, and I actually kind of wanted to hit her. And it totally threw me into a tailspin. In the core of my being, I knew you were right. And that helped me sort of turn things around for myself as well. I sent out love and holiness in all who were in attendance that day, and I can't even tell you how many gifts I received that day. People offered to help me, looks of compassion. Every time I went to the ladies' room, the women were like, come on, just go, cut the line. It was just a wonderful day of holiness and light. And the miracles that have just been happening around change of perception. I've been given the opportunity to listen and take assignments. People have come to me for just guidance and information, and it's just been thrilling to be of service in that way. Stillness and trust in the divine. I want to just do a little plug for Teachers of God, True Prosperity, which really catapulted my trust in God it was a 180-degree turnaround. It was just amazing, so I encourage all of you to take it. It's a 7-week class, I believe still, right? But for me, in the stillness is where I get my guidance and get nudges to do certain things, and that got me to San Francisco Course in Miracles convention, which I had never been to, and I kept getting nudges on my right shoulder, go, 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 and I said, okay. It was also the same way for the Abraham cruise. Laura, again, pointed across the room and said, "You're coming," and I did. Just the writing I've been doing, channeling spirit while writing and learning more and more about myself through a wonderful coach. Thank you, Irene. It's the strength that does sustain me. So to wrap it up, I just want to increase this oneness that we've all been so blessed to share and learn about. And I see this as an ending, and as Bill said earlier, a new beginning as well. So in the spring, I'm hoping to attract new people who are searching, who would like to gather in my home to find a better way to live. Who doesn't want to live like this? Live in peace and joy and happiness. So I'm hoping to share that. So I just had a quick little reading I wanted to do for Lisa and Bill. It's chapter 16, section 3, page 529, The Joy of Teaching. You have taught well, and yet you have not learned how to accept the comfort of your teaching. If you will consider what you have taught and how alien it is to what you thought you knew, you will be compelled to recognize that your teacher came from beyond your thought system, and so could look upon it fairly and perceive it was untrue. And he must have done so from the basis of a very different thought system, and one with nothing in common with yours. For certainly what he has taught and what you taught through him has nothing in common with what you taught before he came. And the results have been to bring peace where there was pain, and suffering has disappeared to be replaced by joy. You who are host to God are also host to them. For nothing real has ever left the mind of its creator, and what is not real was never there. You are not two selves in conflict. What is beyond God? If you who hold him and whom he holds are the universe, all else must be outside when nothing is. You have taught this, and far off in the universe, yet not beyond yourself, the witness to your teaching have gathered to help you learn. Their gratitude has joined with yours and God's to strengthen your faith in what you taught. What you taught is true. Alone you stand outside your teaching and apart from it, but with them you must learn that you but taught yourself and learn from the conviction you shared with them. This year you will begin to learn and make learning commensurate with teaching. You have chosen this by your own willingness to teach. Though you seem to suffer for it, the joy of teaching will yet be yours. For the joy of teaching is in the learner, who offers it to the teacher in gratitude and shares it with him. As you learn your gratitude to yourself, who teaches you what he is, will grow and help you honor him, and you will learn his power and strength and purity and love him as his Father does. His kingdom has no limits and no end, and there is nothing in him that is not perfect and eternal. All this is you, and nothing outside of this is you. To your most holy self, all praise is due for what you are and for what he is who created you as you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. I love you too. Wow. Thank you so much, Jane, for the gift of you. And I loved just what you share, all gratitude. And I love the section that you chose, because that's for all of us. Like that our teacher comes from another thought system. And at first that really is just within, but then you merge with that thought system and now you become that in the world. Right? Can everybody see that? And this is where it takes trust to really come from a place where you're holding the high note. You're holding the truth in every situation for everyone. And you speak things that are not in the thought system that someone suffering is thinking. And to me, this really is what A Course in Miracles comes down to, and you expressed it so beautifully, Jane, is to change the picture of what you think you are. That's the whole Course in Miracles in my mind. Like in sickness, we think we're suffering, we're frail, we're powerless, we're weak. And in healing, like you made your list, I can't garden, I can't this, I can't that, I can't that. And then in a moment of pausing, you go, hold on a second, can I do? Change the picture. So thank you so much. Our next teacher is the awesome and beautiful Nancy Peacock.
Thanks, Lisa. Good morning, everyone. Probably use that in a minute. Love streamers. This is a wonderful celebration of my 2 years here. It's been extraordinary. I'm a little overwhelmed, but really been very thoughtful about the process of moving forward from here. We've had some great teachers in the last few weeks that have really expressed what it's like to go out on our own and to teach and do what we've been meant to do is, share our light. I know we'll all be together. The memories of this will be wonderful to have. So to speak today it was a little difficult to pull together what I wanted to say. I think, first of all, I love and appreciate all of you, and again, live streamers, but just deep gratitude for what Bill and Lisa have created here and what moves forward. The energy going forward will be different. I still cannot believe how I found the course. A lot of people have the book, they've read it, they put it down, they come back. I was just guided 2 years ago, last November, and had gone through a whole year transition of taking care of my father and my brother. My father went into hospice, and prior to that, my brother had open heart surgery. When he was able to get moving and take care of my dad because he was living with him, I was just kind of free for the first time in a while, and I wanted to go to the Healthy Living Expo in Marlborough. I don't know if any of you have been there, but it's a really wonderful place of exhibits and a lot of healing vendors and products and things. I had no idea. I was just excited. I was an open book, which is, I guess, part of it. I had really nothing on my plate. I had given up some of my coaching business because I had to take care of family. And the first people that I saw when I walked into the building I think it was Lisa and Linda Leland, and then Bill. And Bill was hugging everyone, and it was just like, wow, this is cool. And then I think Lisa or Linda handed me an iPad. Here, sign up here for the 40-day program. Like, I don't know what that is. I think I've heard of the Course in Miracles. And whammo, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm open. I'll sign up. And if I don't want to do it, right, don't have to do it. It's free. And that was a defining moment. That was when my willingness to really grow, I had no idea, but Lisa had me right at the beginning. Lisa, you just had me, I don't know, first, second video, can't remember, but I just knew there was something bigger out there, and I am so eternally and grateful that I then bought the book, the purple book, the beautiful purple book. I didn't have the blue book, and I started reading it. It took me about 1.5 years to finish, and now, having been with you for 2 years, I feel like it's like a blink of an eye. We're being called to go out and teach. And that's sort of where I ended up with this whole thing was, Lisa said new beginnings in her email. So I went to chapter 30, New Beginnings, and it's quite a chapter because it's one of the last 2 chapters in the text. And it's all about making decisions. And I've been kind of hemming and hawing about, do I start a group? Is that for me, or am I going to be on the sidelines? And Lisa and Bill and all of you have been encouraging us to get out there. And it's, then it gets into the minutia. Well, where am I going to have it? What day am I going to have it? Where's it going to be? And it's just all, fear of, stepping into the greatness that we know we have to share. And so some of my favorite parts of the book, there's many, but, today I will make no decisions by myself. And this means we will be willing to ask Holy Spirit for what to do rather than to doing it all on our own. And that is like the key, because when I do that, I'm not at peace. And when I'm not at peace, that's when I know ego has taken over. And that's ego speaking. And so I went back and forth with chapter 30, and I think it was chapter 3 had a lot to do with, that's the one I think that has fear of being a teacher in it. And so that made me think about, as I was doing this, I felt ego coming in. And originally when I spoke here about 8 months ago, it was on anxiety. And, that was a very somber kind of a group teach. This is more of a celebration and a launching and a graduation, and it's really speaking to me about what I need to do for the next phase of this. And when I had done that talk, I was leaving the house and I opened up the book, the purple book, and it was Cameo 17. Bill's fear of public speaking, Bill Thetford's fear of public speaking. I went, wow, that's really interesting. I'm going to public speak in about half an hour. And I didn't really read the whole thing, but it was the fact that he was a really good teacher, and he was being posed to teach a class on abnormal psychology. So I went back in this yesterday and looked at it, and it was about ego, teaching with ego. And I guess was what Ken Wapnick said. He had like a morbid sense of worry and fear about teaching, but he was good at it, and he really couldn't teach. It was certain classes he couldn't teach. So he was sort of being set up by Jesus. This was something that Jesus had intervened on to get him to do this work and to get out there and teach without ego, which he was good at. And I thought it was really quite supportive, and I'd just like to read part of Cameo 17 that is Jesus supporting him in his going out in front and speaking his truth. And I'm going to borrow the purple book there, I think, because I can't open my phone and do it, and I don't have. My purple book is so full of sticky notes, and I can't even take it in public. I got to get a new one if I'm going to teach, because it's I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Cameos essays that are only in the purple book, and this one is so heavy I can't even hold it. Cameo 17 is Bill's class. Sure. So we kind of know the story about Bill and Helen. And so Bill was scheduled to teach at the undergraduate campus at Columbia University, and had a morbid fear of public speaking, though indeed he was an excellent speaker. So it says further down, Bill's course was very carefully chosen because of abnormal psychology as ego psychology. This is precisely the kind of content which should never be taught from ego, whose abnormalities should be lessened. Most teachers have an unfortunate tendency to teach the course abnormally, and many of the students are apt to suffer considerably from the perceptual distortion because of their own authority problems. So his teaching assignment will be to present perceptual distortions without engaging in himself or encouraging your students to do so. So now we can see clearly why Jesus assigned Bill to teach this class. Jesus' concern is with teachers and therapists students will one day become, and with those whom they will turn in effect. If Bill can teach a class from a standpoint beyond ego's abnormality, he can inspire these future teachers and therapists with hope for healing rather than drag them down into fear and depression and an inescapable reality of mental illness. And presumably that hope will then flow through to them and the students. Now, not everybody's going to be called to teach in a classroom setting, but we know that we're all being called to go out and teach from a place of love and light and not from fear and ego. So Jesus said he promised to attend himself and would at least credit him with some dependability in keeping his own promises. I never make them lightly because I know they need my brothers to have trust. Jesus, however, does not just send a frightened Bill to the front of the class to face the students by himself. He also promises to attend the class and show his support for Bill, a statement of his belief in Bill as a teacher. And in case Bill is tempted to think that the promise is just empty words, Jesus says he does not make such promises lightly. After all, he is trying to lead Bill and Helen towards a global stance of trust. It is essential then that he is eminently dependable, or he will just reinforce the current mistrust. He is not the sort of spiritual master who tries to shatter their egos by setting up certain expectations and frustrating them. Rather, he is holding out to them one relationship in which real trust is possible, as a gateway to trusting relationship with reality itself. And so when he says, I promise to attend myself, he wants Bill to know that he's not kidding. He will really be there. He's here, and I appreciate that. And I'll call him in whenever I need him. I'm here, Lord. And we're all called now as to go out as teachers of God and spread our light. And I'm really excited for all of us, and for how I can share. What I've learned this last 2 years has been a lot of knowledge, and there's a lot to learn. And why we teach is because we have to learn. And what I needed to learn is to let go of ego and just get out and do it. So on that note, be willing, watch your thoughts like a hawk, notice, be still, come back, bless. God bless all of you. I love and appreciate you. Again, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. You know, while you were sharing, I mean, I, as you know, as a teacher, am always encouraging people to just be yourself. Just show up the way you are. And a story I often forget is I started writing and blogging in 2004 when I lived in Wisconsin. Didn't tell anybody. It was one of those free WordPress sites. I didn't tell one soul. I didn't care about a mailing list. I didn't care about anyone reading what I wrote. I did it for me. I was like, I don't understand this book. And I think if I make a commitment to just put it down on a computer, because writing is an easy way of communication for me, and maybe I had been writing every day just quietly. It was almost like a place that I could just hold the notes that I wanted to remember, not really realizing other people might be reading it because I wasn't sending it out. And one day I got an email from somebody who said I was going to kill myself last night. And I decided I'm just going to just search the internet one last time, and he found me. And he said, he goes, oh my God, thank you. And I don't even know who he is now. I don't even know, but that was like, what? Like that we each can be a light, and you don't even have to think you're doing anything. I didn't have a mailing list. He found me. So even when you're like standing wherever you are, like if you're in Unity in the River ever and you're just being the light and joy, I can't tell you how many times somebody has come up to me and I'm just so present listening to someone else teaching and I'm in joy, and they come up to me and say, oh my God, thank you for just the way you listen. I'm not even trying to like teach, but I am teaching. That's what teaching is. So it's way simpler than we think. We don't have to formally teach, but we are teaching the thought system that we believe in. So our next awesome teacher is the beautiful Kelly Russell, who's always rocking her joy. She is our presenter this month. She's our presenter this month in the Presenters series, and her website is rockyourjoy.com.
Thank you. Love you. Hi, everybody. Happy graduation day. So I think of this fake world that we're all dreaming as a school, right? And that every, like when you go to school, like when you go to college or high school or whatever, high school is a little different because, your stuff is more chosen for you. The courses that you're going to take are chosen for you. And in college, you're saying, oh, I got to get this degree, so I got to take these certain classes, and I have to have, these different areas of study completed. And so, I'm looking through the course catalog, and this sounds interesting, and that sounds interesting, and we don't really know what the course is really going to be like, and we don't know who the people are going to be in the classroom with us. And we don't really know, we might have heard something about the professors, but we don't really know what that experience will really be like. We don't know what the lab will be like. We're just, sounds interesting, something I got to do, because I want to get to here, right? And so that's how I think of how we all wound up here together. We're all in our courses in life, the Course in Miracles, not just the Course in Miracles, but we're in our courses in life, and every single one of us somehow got here, whether you're live streaming or whether you're here in person, we all somehow signed up for this course together. And we may have signed up for the Course in Miracles first, and then that brought us here. Or we may have been just looking around for something to be helpful to us, and we saw an ad somewhere, or somebody told us about the 40-day program, and it was a program for transformation, and so that's what got us here, and then that's what got us to A Course in Miracles. So whatever the avenues are, it's so interesting. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and she was saying that she's working with someone who's very intuitive and who works with their spirit guides. And she was talking about whether or not, she needs to do this search engine optimization, some bullshit, whatever, for her website. And I'm sure it's a good idea. I'll probably end up doing it too, but I don't really get it. And this woman said to her, my guides have assured me that it doesn't really matter whether you do that or not. It doesn't matter really what you do, because they will make sure that whatever email you're supposed to read, you'll read it. And whoever you're supposed to meet, you'll meet. And whatever book you're supposed to come across and study, you will study. And that the ego would like us to think that it's all about what we do in the world, right? Because that's the ego's jam. And it's really not. This is all being directed by the mind of God. And, in those of us who are A Course in Miracles, the teacher is Jesus. And that is what our course really is. So, I think of, if we just look at our lives from an ego standpoint, this happened to me and that happened to me, and, I made this mistake, and that was a dumb idea that I did, and that decision, and I married that guy and divorced him and married a different guy and divorced, and it's all seems very disjointed, and we think about things as being our mistakes. and how we, effed up and whatever. But yet, if we look at it, like everything we needed to go through was bringing us to the next thing, and the next level of awareness, and the next lesson, and the next, that they were all like courses. Everything was a course. Every failure, every perceived failure, every heartbreak, every success, every relationship, everything we've ever done has brought us to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I remember that I got my graduate degree in 2007 and my license as a psychotherapist in 2011. And the next thing that I was thinking about doing was a chaplain program, because I wanted to be able to do spiritual counseling as well, and I wanted to be able to really extend that spiritual aspect to myself. But nothing really seemed right. I looked into a few of them. I even looked into Pathways of Light, which is specifically a Course in Miracles, like chaplaincy and training program. And I've also taught in every aspect of every job I have ever had, no matter what it was. I wound up in the teaching aspect of it. And so I thought, I just wish, I was a member of Unity on the River, and I had a Course in Miracles group in my home, and I said, I just wish there was like a community somewhere of people that were Course in Miracles oriented, and that I could learn how to be a Course in Miracles teacher, and that I could that I just wish I had that. And I don't even know how long it was that I thought that until I got an email from Bill Free saying, my wife Lisa Natoli and I have this organization that we've started, Teachers of God, and this is what we do. And he kind of told me about it. Are you interested? I know that you have a Course in Miracles group in your home. Are you interested in becoming part of it? And we just have no idea when something is presented to us, we have no idea. It's like when you meet someone that you might later marry, or you stumble across some, job that you just answer, okay, I'll just apply for that, and it turns out to be like your career, or, some amazing thing that you don't really realize the effect it's going to have on your life, and the magnitude that it is going to be for you. And that's what this group has really been. That email that you sent me, and then I hadn't been coming to Unity on the River for a long time. I used to be a chaplain here. I used to come every Sunday, but my life took a different turn and whatever. And I thought, and Bill didn't really say anything about where the group was going to be meeting or anything like that. Just, are you interested? And I said yes. And then I thought, for some reason, I'll just go to the service this Sunday. I don't know. I just got some kind of a hit. You should go to the service. And I go to the service, and they say they're going to be honoring someone for sacred service. And they introduce Lisa Natoli. And she gets up there, and I didn't make the connection of Bill and of Lisa's last name, so I didn't know who you were. And she gets up there, and they're honoring her and giving her like a stone and saying her sacred service, and then she says, thank you and all that. And my husband Bill and I have started this foundation called the Teachers of God. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, what? Oh my God. So after the service, I made a beeline right in this room over to Bill and said, hey, I'm Kelly Russell. You sent me an email. And he's like, oh my God, here, meet Lisa. This is Lisa Natoli. And Al was there. And then I started coming to this group, and, it changed my life. I mean, I have done all the programs. I went through the Living in Purpose and went through the ministerial program, so it actually did lead to a ministerial license. And really, this group and the two of you were the midwives of my teaching ministry and my coaching practice. And I'm so grateful. So thank you so much. And thank you for all of you for being my classmates and my teachers, and happy graduation. Love you.
Well, don't go anywhere yet. So I'm going to present to you. I'm now bringing you up to honor your sacred service. So what's funny that you just tell that story. Do you know what was on that rock? No. It was a joy rock. Okay? So Unity on the River has some rocks, and it was presented to me from Jackie Woodside, and it's given to anybody who's embodying the quality. And I've had the rock on my bookshelf all these years, living joy. Joy is my word. It is. And I have been thinking, who gets that rock? And I really wanted it to be in unity, you know. And so I am presenting my Joy Rock. I don't have it here, but I have it at home. And I'm going to you, Kelly Russell. I'm passing it on to you. I love you. Thank you.
I love you.
I love you too. Ah, that's so fun. So our next speaker is, who's it gonna be? It's gonna be Shirley O'Connor.
Thank you. I stand in the presence. I love you, Lisa. Bill, wherever you are. Callie, you're a tough act to follow. Well, I'm going to tell a little bit of my story, even though I don't have a story. Okay. So anyways, I came to the Course in Miracles 30 years ago. And I came from Alcoholics Anonymous, which I'm very proud to be. And I was 10 years sober. And so I've been around these halls for 30 years. And I came to Unity on the River because John Monday was speaking here. And I heard that through Vicky Poppy. And so I've just had this wonderful journey. Of all you people, Callie, I love you. Thank you. I didn't realize it was going to be so emotional up here, but you're all my family, and you're all just love bundles. And lights. I see lights everywhere. So I came to the Course in Miracles. John Nagy from Melrose, he was my teacher for years. But I always went to AA and did my steps, you know. I did the steps with the big book, and I had to look at all the issues that I had brought here, that I had brought from, you know, my days of drinking. So I had a lot to look at, and it was the people before me that I watched, and I wanted to be like them. So that's what I did, and the list of my resentments went on forever, because you're supposed to go back as far as you can remember, and remember all the resentments that you had. So I had quite a few, and with each of them, you had to say, where was I selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and afraid? So it was very thorough. And so I needed a spiritual place to come to resolve all those issues. And this was the place. And I learned so much about myself. I learned how to be vulnerable. I'm here today. And I learned how to love from the bottom of my heart.
Switch mics.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. So I learned so much about myself, and I learned to forgive. That was a biggie, you know. I learned to forgive because I figured the people that I had resentments towards was all in my head. I had made it up, and it was all in my mind. And kind of let me off the hook a little bit when I came here because I knew it was only an illusion. And so it's been a process, and I've met so many beautiful people here, so many beautiful teachers and friends. And my biggest teachers were my children, because I had a story made up about them. You know, they didn't love me, they didn't care about me, all of that went on in my head. So on the holidays, I would make up, you know, I'd tell my friends, oh yeah, they don't care about me, look at, they didn't send me a card, they didn't call me, whatever I made up about them. And so that went on for a couple of years. And then as I came to the Course in Miracles, my story started changing and I started becoming better, or I was starting to be healed. And I was starting to be full of love and forgiveness. And, you know, so along came the holiday where I just had this fabulous time. Everybody loved me. Yeah, everybody loved me, and I had such a marvelous time. And I'm going, oh, these people have changed. Yeah, it was amazing. So I knew then that it was me that had changed, and that is such a blessing, you know. And I have to shout out for Nancy Fitzgerald and Chris that's hiding over there. You know, I go to their meeting every Sunday, and I've learned so much. They're so loving and kind, and I can't say enough of the Course in Miracles. You know, we have a saying in AA about don't leave before the miracle happens. Don't leave before the miracle happens. And I'm one of them, for sure. And okay, so I want to tell a story about Bill's rock. So I love Bill, and he talks a lot about awareness, and I really try to be in awareness today. I've learned that from Bill and his direct path. And so when I'm in awareness, I go to this place where I'm really at peace. I'm in my presence with God and the Holy Spirit. And sometimes in the world, if I have a trigger go off, today I call them triggers. You know, it's something that from the past that I haven't resolved, and it comes up within me. I used to have to, from programs I've gone to, try to go back in my childhood and resolve that issue and find out where it came from, and then resolve it and give it to the Holy Spirit. But since I learned from Bill that I can just go into the present moment, pause, go into the present moment, and bridge that sensation into my I am presence. And it just gets resolved, you know. And I learned that here. I learned so much about myself. I'm a different person, thank God, you know. And this year at Thanksgiving, I always had this thing, my son doesn't love me, blah, blah, blah. He was just so kind and loving. Can I do anything for you? Can I get you anything? I mean, he was just so loving. It was just like, I knew who I was. I'm love. That's who I am. I'm love, and I'm joy, and I'm happiness, all the things that they promise you here. This is what you get. It's a gift. And I have the gift. And I can't say enough. You know, just come here and be with the people, be with the energy. And, you know, Bill and Lisa, of course, I've watched them as they came along because I was in Unity for a lot of years. I've been here for about 13, 14 years. And so Lisa and Bill came along, and they started this program here. And I watched them when they became chaplains. So I wanted to be a chaplain, too, because they were chaplains. So I did do that. Oh, God, I'm laughing at myself. But, yeah, so I became a chaplain, and that's such a blessing, you know, to be able to be in the presence with someone when they're in pain, and just to listen. So that is such a blessing. And then, Lisa went to school all those years at the academy in Wisconsin, and she brought all her teachings here to us. I mean, Lisa, I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart that you did that. And Bill, I really want to thank you so much for your teaching of being aware of being aware. Being aware of my thoughts and my sensations, and I can just give them to the Holy Spirit. Just be right here in the present moment. So I thank you for that. And I thank you all for being here, because I love you all.
I love you so much. Okay, would you all agree that Shirley is going to be the tough act to follow?
Absolutely.
Okay, we have one more teacher, and before I bring her up, it looks like we're going to go till 12. And is that okay on the live stream?
Yeah.
Okay. But before I do that, I just want to say, just from what you were sharing, Shirley, which was so beautiful, is the value of community. And I just want to really express that even though this space is ending, and what's amazing is that the same week that Bill and I got really clear that this was done, Unity on the River decided to sell. So the building's actually not even going to be here. So it was going to change anyways, and that's just how it works. And what we're doing at the Teachers of God Foundation is something called Teachers of God TV, TGF TV. And the first month is going to be free in January, and then it's going to be in the membership area, which is going to be called Evolve. And before anybody starts thinking it's all complicated, because there's like the presenter series, the transformation room, Evolve, it's actually all one thing. So for anyone who's currently in the transformation room, in the presenter series, you will be getting TGF TV as part of your membership. So just stay on. And what I just want to say about it is, so we're not doing the Friday group anymore, but we have 4 presenters for TGF TV. I'm one of them. For one of the weeks of the month, I'll be focusing on healing. Irene Tompkinson is one of our presenters. She is going to be presenting on the 12 steps in A Course in Miracles. We have Bill Free, and his week is going to be on non-duality and A Course in Miracles, the direct path. And Kelly Russell is the 4th one, and she is going to be doing psychotherapy, forgiveness, and we want TGF TV to really, we're going to be interviewing people. And it's going to be a different format, but I think it's pretty cool because we want to bring people, like anyone who's watching here, anybody here listening that would like to be a guest on one of our shows. We want to start to really bring the voices of people who are practicing to the world, to inspire other people, to keep people, like you were saying, Shirley, in the place until the miracle happens. So it's not that the community's going away, just the format's changing a little bit. But I want everyone to really know that it's so exciting to me, like Irene to bring the 12 steps, and now we're bringing the non-duality, and we're bringing the psychotherapy. What?
Shirley, she's already been invited.
Okay, so Shirley's one of the guests. That's so perfect. I can't wait to watch that. And the shows are going to be live in Evolve. So they're still going to be on Friday mornings. And it's going to be live for that, for anybody in there to listen to the interview, so people would be watching you too, and being able to participate in it. So I just wanted to put that out there. If anybody wants to be a guest, please write to us. Anyone wants to be on the show, we're here.
Write to info@teachersofgod.org.
Yep, and you can find our contact info always at the Teachers of God website. And now, exciting, our final guest is Bonnie Kimball.
I'm so nervous.
No, you're not.
I am. I love you. I stand in the presence. Shirley, I'm feeling that now. I didn't think, I've been sitting there nervous for this whole time. I'm usually like, Jade, can I go first? So I can just get it out.
I always go, that means you go last.
Because I just never, I really don't come here with anything that I specifically wanted to say. I had an idea, and I just like it to evolve. But first off, I want to thank Lisa and Bill, first and foremost, for starting this group. And I still think that I was the one that, brought you guys out in my mind, because, try and make that story a little short, and I know I've told it. I had a lot of problems going on. I didn't do the Course in Miracles. I didn't know what it was. I opened the book once, and I seen God and sin and something, and I closed it, and I'm like, screw this shit. I'm not doing that. So it popped in my mind. I'm like, I'm going to go online tomorrow and look for a course group. And I didn't even have a book. I didn't know what it was. And that day, a girl came into my work and asked me if I knew Lisa Natoli and Bill Free, and I said no. And she said, they're starting a group this Friday. It was June 7th, 2013. And I'm like, I have Fridays off.
Yeah.
I mean, totally manifested for me. So, Shipley, I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I always, I'm shared them with you guys, so you're welcome. And, yeah, and, and I look around this room, and there was a time I would have never taken a microphone, never came up in front of a group. When I worked at Unity, when I worked at the bookstore in Unity and everything so many years back, when we had a guy here wanted to bring me up in front of the church and thank me for my service, and I told him if he did that, I would quit. And he said, really? And I go, yes, do not bring me up in front of people. I was just so frightened, and I didn't, I was afraid to be seen. I know. So coming here on the first day of the group, and I wanted community, but still not want, scared to be close to people. And then I don't know, my impression of Bill Free and Lisa, I don't know. And Bill was funny. He'd always grab that book and go, I just want to eat it. I want to eat this. He's just so extreme. So, but then when Lisa called Kelly up before me, I'm like, oh my God, I got to follow Kelly. And then everybody that got up here and talked today, it was just there was just so much that you guys said that just meant a lot, that we've learned and we've grown, and I've learned and grown. And so I thought, with this whole community part here ending, was that we all have everything that we need contained. It's here. It's all here for us. And Lisa said it's time, to go out in the world and do it. We like to be able to go run to somebody when we have a problem or anything else, but we have it inside. And last January, I took a class with Irene at her home. We did mandalas, and this was the first time I experienced. She said, I want you to go sit down and ask your higher self questions, and we wrote down on paper, and this conversation was so easy. And then in February, I did went with Lisa to Mexico, and we did the Healing Cure Retreat. And she said, you have a companion, and I want you to go out with your companion and, have a conversation. And so that's what I want to leave you guys with here today, is the fact that you have this. And it can be really easy. And sometimes we think that, I've asked my intuition, or I've asked my higher self or Jesus or God, and I just don't get an answer. I don't get an answer from Spirit. And I likened it to a muscle that, if you use the muscle, it's strong. If you don't, it's not strong. And you might not get the results you like when it's weak, but you have to strengthen it. And so with both Lisa and Irene, my conversation, I just had a pen and paper and just sat there, and I got real still. And I imagined, and at that point, I imagined Jesus was my companion. And we were at a cafe table, and so the sounds, I incorporated all the sounds I was hearing into the moment, so I brought myself into this moment, and that's where you need to be, in the present. Present moment. Present, and you just ask questions and write, or so after I practiced it for, a while, I was in Hawaii, and I went out on this boat, and it was an eco boat, and we were going to go swim with dolphins. And it just happened that this time of year in Hawaii, humpback whales had already left to go to the northern Pacific because there was no more food for them around Hawaii. And so we ended up running into this pair of humpback whales, and there was these other boats around them, and they disappeared really fast, and it was a female and a male. And it was very unusual for them to be there. And so then we were off going to hunt the dolphins again, and all of a sudden they appeared just for our boat. And these whales put on a show for us for like 20 minutes, where we finally, they breached and they slapped their tails, and I have some videos, and it was just, the captain of the boat couldn't believe it. Nobody could believe it. And so as we were taking off, and I was by myself, and I was really contemplating, and I just went there. So, you don't need a pen and paper either. I just got really present with where I was, and I was like, what do you think that was all about? And they said, welcome home. It still makes me want to cry. It was, so we have that in us. So, since it's me, and I usually do some kind of meditation or something, I want you all to take a nice deep breath and close your eyes and take a couple nice, really deep breaths. And I want you to put yourself with your guide, whoever that would be, whether it's yourself. I use myself now as in a goddess form because it is all me, or Jesus, Holy Spirit, just be there with them. Feel the sounds or non-sounds. Feel your feet on the floor. Look at your companion and just be really present. And if you could ask your companion one thing, ask him now. And give them a little time for a reply. And now, with that, I know it's short, I just want to say how much I love you all. I love you, love streamers. I've grown so much with this group. I've just grown. I didn't even know I could live stream. I did it for a long time. Who knew I could do that for a long time? A lot of help. Oh, okay. I love you all.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Bonnie. Say, if you're a board member for the Teachers of God Foundation, would you please come up to the front? And Nancy Fitzgerald, would you come up here, please, also? So I just want to give a shout out to what has grown out of this group also. These are the board members of the Teachers of God Foundation. Missing James. James, if you're watching, James Clayton is also. And this has grown out of this group. And then also I just want to give a shout out to Nancy Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
She put the first money into the Teachers of God Foundation.
And she didn't even know
And she didn't even know she was doing it. And she was one of our first advisors. She helped us for 2 years, advising us and helping us to evolve into what we are today, which is amazing. It's just the reach that we have because of these individuals. And Nancy Fitzgerald, I just want to give you a big gratitude, love hug. Thank you. Thank you. And these are the board members that help us to navigate what we're supposed to do next. And these guys, you know who they are. They're always listening. I am so grateful to have a board like you guys to help me and to help us to navigate the waters. You guys are such a foundation for the truth, and it makes us what we are. And also it makes us be able to do what you guys are joining with us in. You're participating in this, and it's because of you that we do what we do, and it's because of the things like Shirley and Bonnie and Irene and everyone's, and Jane, and everyone's there. Each one of you could come up here. I know you could, and that's why we do what we do, because of you, because we're here in service to share the truth and be the truth that we are. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart that you manifested me.
I also want to say a thank you also to Linda Leland and to Al Austin. They're not here in the
Al
room,
and
but
Linda,
they also been on our team. Al's on our board. Al, if you're watching, thank you so much. And this is the funnest board members that I have ever seen, because it's the most unusual way of getting things done. And I'm calling Al out especially because we have had moments during the Teachers of God Foundation lifetime where we really had no money. We didn't know how we were going to pay the rent here, how we were going to do what we're doing, and we don't talk about it.
Well, we can't leave out David Fishman.
And David Fish. But I want to keep it at Al for now, because Al, on our board, we'd meet on these board meetings, and we'd be looking at the bank. We're like, we don't know how to pay anything. And Al's like, we got to give more. That was Al. Oh, and every single person who's been on our board has always been, if we're in a place where the money's not flowing, must mean we're not flowing. And the stuff that Al specifically, I love you, Al, is he'd be sitting there, and the things he was proposing we do made no logical sense, right? And Al's just like, look, we have to be living these teachings, or what are we doing?
Right.
And we're like, you're right. And we would just start writing checks. We'd start giving. We're like, all right, this is what we're doing. And that's what we really want to inspire in everyone here. If there's a block in you, whatever it is, start giving.
Right.
And David Fishman. We love you, David.
We love you, David Fishman. Thank you.
And then we started living in the now.
Yes.
We stopped bringing that past.
That's right. You know, Chris is the guy that really instills, living in the now, this present moment. Mm-hmm. So thank you guys for being such an amazing example for us.
Yeah. So
and thank you all.
If everyone can join us in a circle.
We'll stand and we'll have a a closing prayer. And live streamers,
Too, sweetie.
I love you, we love you, and thank you for being part of the Teachers of God Foundation. And look for our weekly update, and you'll get links for TGF TV that will be free until the end of January. We're going to skip.
Close the circle.
That's going to be beginning January 3rd. Lisa Natoli will be the first one. And I hope you join us for Evolve if you're not already in it. And thank you all for being here. This is such a big group. This is what the group used to look like.
Yeah. And
Right?
I want to invite everyone to stay. There's cake over there, gluten-free, cheesecakes from the Beach Bee, and just really just allow yourself to be here in a celebration today.
And I hope you'll all come to our Portsmouth event next week. It's going to be great. Next Saturday from 9 to 12. And then if you want to stay and hang out with Lisa for 2 more workshops, for 2 more events that she's doing with the Healing Cure, please join us next Saturday, and let's just have this times 10.
And one more. January 11th, potluck at Farmington, 46 Civic Street, Farmington, New Hampshire, at my house, starting at noon.
Okay, that's the whole world. The whole world is welcome. She has a big house. All right. All right.
I don't know if I have room for the whole world, but I've got a gathering going on at my house tomorrow in New Hampshire. I have flyers that I haven't managed to put out, but I will put them out. 7 to 10, we're going to compare a cry-on teaching and where there was darkness, then now there's light. And then we're going to just break up and visit and eat. If you want to bring a snack, that would be great. And I've also scheduled the first medical medium orientation session in January, the 18th, the 3rd Saturday. So there's more about that, too.
Thank you.
There's Vicky Poppies.
Oh, and Vicky Poppy
right.
has
Vicky's
changed
pu-
her
thank you.
her time on the 15th. She has her Christmas party, and she's moved it to 3 p.m.
That's next Sunday.
That's next Sunday
At Vicki Thomas's house.
at Vicki Thomas's house in Quincy, Mass. So if we'll all just join together and just in gratitude, we hold the hands of our brother and ourself. There is only one self, only one being. And this beingness is what I am is. As we just acknowledge each one here, we share the vibration of love. We share the vibration of I am. I am that I am. And as we remember and recognize and just say with the words, I am, we're saying, I am love, I am presence, I am holiness. And now we take this acknowledgement, we take this recognition and this grace of understanding, and we extend this love, this grace, this knowing of the being I am. We extend it to each family member that each one of us has. We send it with love to all the family members that are represented here, and live streamers too, and anyone that's watching a replay. We extend this I am to all of your family members, your friends, your pets, your experiences. We envelop you with love and with holiness, the Christ. We envelop this entire earth, and then it extends into the stars and other solar systems and other galaxies. We extend this love because there's no end to to what I am is. And beloved, this is you. You are what God is. And so it is. Amen. So we'll say the unity prayer, divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Amen. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, live streamers. We put a donate button on the chat box for you, live streamers, if you'd like to support the Teachers of God Foundation. Thank you for that. And everyone here, thank you for being with us. It would be my joy if I could see you all next Saturday. Please come to Portsmouth and let's do this again. I love you.
Once it breaks up into that, it's impossible to get it back. There you are. I brought the cheesecake.
Sus ídolos, imágenes, el no tener forma deja de tener efecto.